Hello, and welcome to...
Ah!
Damn it! Hello, welcome to What the Heck Does That Card Do? Josh got me. We talk about magic cards, we talk about commanders, and we talk about cards you could put in your commander decks for said commanders. Yeah, we were looking at Avatar, and there's a whole bunch of cool new commanders for Avatar, but we've decided to go for the biggest, nastiest piece of shit in the whole set, which is the villain of the show, Ozai the Phoenix King. This card is crazy. This card is so good. 2 and 2 black and 2 red for a legendary creature human noble. It's a 7/7. It has trample, firebending 4, and haste. If you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes red instead. Ozai has flying and indestructible as long as you have 6 or more unspent mana. This fucking guy. Like, it's just, this is the kind of card you play and everyone else goes, because it's just, it has, okay. Number 1, he has firebending 4. If you cast him in your first main phase and then go to combat, you get 4 red mana. Firebending says if you get 4 red mana, it goes away at the end of combat. But Ozai specifically says if you would lose unspent mana, it becomes red mana instead. So you keep it. You keep it forever until you spend it on something else. So you will have an endless amount of red mana immediately. Obviously, this means he works extremely well with other firebenders. Because it goes without saying, any other firebender from the Avatar set is a perfect inclusion in this deck, because every time you go to combat, you will firebend X amount of mana, and then that is your mana now. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just yours forever. That is automatically insane. I will also point out that he has flying and indestructible as long as you have 6 or more unspent mana. That's gross. Because he's already got trample and haste. He's already going to decimate boards by attacking. If you give him flying as well, he becomes even harder to block. And giving him indestructible is particularly good because people are going to want to kill this motherfucker. The moment he comes down, everyone's going to go, nope, no, this is not happening. We must kill this thing. Everyone band together. Obviously, indestructible doesn't stop exile effects, doesn't stop bounce effects, not perfect, but it's a really nice extra. And frankly, if you haven't got 6 unspent mana for most of the time this guy's out, you're doing something wrong. That's just my call here. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, this card is bananas. Now, I know Josh and I both have some really cool things to recommend to get the ball rolling on this. I'm going to start with a recommendation that isn't necessarily for Ozai specifically. It's for all firebending decks. Now, firebending as an ability is super cool. You get a bunch of mana on your combat step, and then you have to spend it during your combat step, because at the end of the combat step, your mana pool empties for your next step. Basically, every time you go to combat, you get mana. And you can use that mana during the combat step. However, at the end of the combat step, that mana will go away. In the same way that if you tap your lands for mana in your first phase, you have to spend that mana in that first phase, otherwise it goes away. Mana pool's empty. Now, Ozai specifically gets around mana pools emptying, but generally speaking, in any deck full of firebenders, you will have a lot of mana floating around during the combat phase. Instants are great in this scenario because you can use instants at that point. But if you don't have any, you're suddenly going to find yourself in quite the pickle because you'll have all this mana and nothing to do with it, and a lot of it will just fizzle. Not if you can cast things with flash. I'm not recommending Vidalcan Orrery because it's become a meme by now, but man, it costs way too much money. But
isn't it also blue?
No, it's colorless.
Oh, is it? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. There are no things that give everything flash in red and black. There are in colorless, so that's okay then, so you can find ways through it. I've got a specific recommendation. It's a Progenitor's Icon, which is from, what is that, Ixalan? Yeah, one of the Ixalans. As it enters, choose a creature type. You can tap it to add a mana of any color, or you can tap it to make the next spell of the chosen type you cast this turn, cast those have flash. So it's not as good as a Vidalcan Orrery, which just says all spells have flash, but it costs like 7 mana. I think it's really expensive to cast. It's a really expensive card because Josh Lee Kwai really liked it at one point. You know, this one is that way less good because you can only do 1 spell a turn because it taps it. But if you've got, say, a firebender and you've got 4 floating red mana during the combat step and nothing to do with it, if you have another firebender in your hand, you can just tap it and play it during the combat step. Firebender. The reason why I point this out in particular is because the Progenitor's Icon needs you to choose a creature type, and the next spell of the chosen type can be cast or have flash, so you've got to choose a creature type. Guess what almost all firebenders are, Josh?
Humans.
Yeah, exactly. that totalitarian regime that probably isn't okay in Avatar. Yeah, they're all humans. So that works in your favor. It's a 20p card. It's nothing. 35p on my latest list here. It's such a good include in any Firebender decks, which means it's also good in this deck. So it's my first recommendation for this deck, but also if you're playing any Firebending from this set at all, just find one. Costs you nothing, and it will give you so much more use for your Firebending mana.
Before I speak about what my first card is, I would like to address the elephant in the room. Ozai has Firebending 4.
Yeah.
Yes. There is an infinite combo that you can do with Ozai if you have one other creature with firebending on the field, or a way to give Ozai more firebending, and that is Aggravated Assault. Aggravated Assault allows you to spend 5 mana, 2 red and 3, to then get another attack step, and you can do that infinitely if you can generate that 5 mana, which Ozai and another creature, you can do that easily enough. Which leads into this card, because what happens if you just want to rely on Ozai himself? Well, then you add this land into the deck, and it's from Avatar itself, and it's called Fire Nation Palace. This land enters tapped unless you control a basic land. Fantastic. Chris and I both like to play a lot of basic lands in our deck, so pretty fair. It taps for red mana, or you can pay a red and 1 and tap it. Target creature you control gains Firebending 4 until end of turn. So you give that to Ozai, he gets 2 instances of Firebending 4. As soon as he attacks, he gets 8 red mana, which instantly makes him flying and indestructible. And then, if you've got Aggravated Assault on the board, you deal your damage because you're flying, you spend 5 of that mana to attack again, you attack again, you go positive on mana +3 each combat.
Yeah. I mean, do I think that's cheap? Yes, I do. But also, you want to win, and also this is a proper, this is a villain deck. I think it's worth saying that if you're playing the villain of a certain franchise, then I certainly believe there's a certain amount of gloves off that comes with that, because I'm playing, no one's playing a casual Ozai deck.
No, definitely not. Another card that I just want to say as well, which works really well with Ozai, especially if you have that Fire Nation Palace out on as well, and it's one of my favourite red cards, is Great Train Heist.
Yeah, it's a great card.
For a red, it has Spree, so you have to spend the red mana to start off with, and then you can choose each of the following modes by spending the mana. You can do all 3, you can do 2, you can do 1, up to you. So for 1 red and 2, untap all creatures you control. If it's your combat phase, there is an additional combat phase after this phase.
Right.
Then for just 2 generic, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike into end of turn. He's already got enough keywords as it is, just give him first strike as well.
I mean, does it add much?
Yeah. And then if you really want to bully one person at the table, for 1 red mana on top of the normal cost, choose target opponent. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to that player this turn, create a tapped treasure token. But yes, this is an absolutely fantastic card that I absolutely love and works so well with Firebending because it's an instant as well.
Yeah, it's great. Firebending, because there's a lot of instants that are good, and Firebending gives you a chance to cast all those instants. The problem will be if you have them in hand or not. So giving your Firebending more versatility is a really, but then also the instants are just so good it's worth having a lot of them in the deck. That's just a given.
Yeah.
Anything that gives you a pump effect, anything that builds it up. Although, I will say I've got a whole class of cards here that it's worth mentioning about this in particular. So Ozai is a 7/7. This is relevant because, when Commander used to be called Elder Dragon Highlander, the reason it was called that is that you could only play the Elder Dragons, which were 5, I think. Is it 5?
I think there's one for each color. Yeah.
No, because they're all 3 colors. It's 5. I think it is 5. The original 5 Elder Dragons from one of the early sets were like the commanders you could play. That was the game. You built an Elder Dragon Highlander deck out of one of the Elder Dragons, and then they opened it up to all legendary creatures, and that's how it became the format that we know and love. Elder Dragons are all 7/7s. That was relevant, and why commander damage exists is also relevant, because commander damage was deemed to be if you hit someone with your Elder Dragon 3 times throughout the game.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Which is why 7/7s became 21 became the commander damage. That's where that comes from. Ozai is a 7/7. 7 is the magic number for commander damage, because you can add +1, +2, +3. That's your prerogative. You're fine. If you want to do that, that's your call. If you double it or give it double strike or both, you can win the game. You can take someone out on the spot. And it's not even that hard to do anymore. Giving him double strike is easy enough. There's equipment that gives double strike. There's many red spells that say target creature has double strike till end of turn. Twinferno is one I mentioned recently on a different podcast. But yeah, you should have those in the deck. And then there are a couple of spells. Bulk Up, Unleash Fury, and the spell side of Two-Handed Axe, which is called Sweeping Cleave. Oh no, the axe itself. Sweeping Cleave gives double strike. The axe itself gives this effect. It just says double target creature's power till end of turn. That stacks with double strike.
Yes.
So if you can cast one of these effects and he has double strike, he's an insta-kill. And he has trample, so even if they manage to block, they're just prolonging the inevitable at that point. And also, if you give double strike and then double it, his power becomes 7, 14, 28. So they'd have to block 7 toughnesses worth of damage to not die on the spot to commander damage. I'm not saying that you should do this all the time, but it really stands out when you're like, is this your villain deck? Yes. What are you doing? Well, I play Ozai and then I kill Jeff.
Yeah.
Just kill him. But do we not have a way of defending it? No. Two-Handed Axe in particular is a proper, like, Chris fave. I don't like having staples, but it might be. Because
It's a very good card.
Well, because you can double it up in the same turn. It's an adventure. Sweeping Cleave, the one in the red, is an adventure on Two-Handed Axe. It's an instant. Target creature gets double strike till end of turn. And then you put the card into exile. And you can then cast that card from exile for its main cost, which is Two-Handed Axe, 2 in a red. Whenever equipped creature attacks, double its power till end of turn. Equip is 1 in a red. If you have built up some red mana in your mana pool from the Ozai existing, all you need to give him double strike, exile the axe, cast the axe, and equip it to him is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, 3 of which is red, which it all is.
Yeah.
So for 7 mana, you give him double strike, exile the axe, cast the axe, equip the axe, attack. And if they don't have any way of defending against it, you have killed them. That's it. Game over, man. That's it. It's done. So yes, I would strongly recommend Two-Handed Axe, but also Bulk Up and Unleash Fury are 2 cards that just say double target creature's power, and if you can find a way of acting on double strike, because I am. Frankly,
Exactly.
even if you can't, just doing 14 damage to someone makes a very clear statement of, don't fuck with me. I attack you once and you're dead.
I will say that the added threat with Bulk Up is it also has flashback. So
Yes, it does. That's right. Bulk Up has flashback, Unleash Fury does not. But Bulk Up is also newer. Makes sense.
yeah.
Go on, what else you got? What's your like game ender? What's your like this will be the thing?
Oh,
This will be the thing.
I'm going to come to game enders at the minute. First of all, I want to address the fact that Ozai costs 6 mana to get out.
Yeah.
Is it 6? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
6 mana to get out, which is a lot. So you need a way to. There's not much ramp in black and red outside of treasure tokens.
No.
So you need ways to be able to generate treasure tokens in order to get them. I've mentioned in loads of other podcasts before, you could use loot effects, discard and draw 2 cards to create treasure tokens, things like Big Score and Unexpected Windfall, fantastic for that. But I thought I thought about it and I was like, well, what about if you had a creature that steadily did it for you every single turn? And we're going to go to everybody's favorite set, Spider-Man, for Ultimate Green Goblin, who costs 1 and hybrid black red. So 2 mana, 2 of one of those colors, and 1 for a 5/4, 3 mana, 5/4 Goblin Villain. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card, then create a treasure token.
Oh, so good.
So good. It helps you. You can get this out going off of basic mana curve. So rocks and all of that sort of stuff get included, not zero cost rocks like CEDH level, but just standard commander play. Casual commander play. You probably get Green Goblin out on your second or third turn. If you run a Dark Ritual in your deck, which is 1 black mana, you get 3 black mana. You could probably cast this. You could cast this on your first turn.
First cast Ozai.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's on your first turn, then you could get this guy out. But
to be fair, I mean, I haven't listed it here because it's definitely on the EDH rec page. But you should play rituals in this deck because any ritual, I mean, normally the downside of ritual is, well, the mana fizzles if you don't use it. Not with Ozai, baby.
Not with Ozai, turns red. Yeah. But
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a fantastic card to get the ball rolling. Start generating treasure tokens over the turns to the point to get Ozai out quicker.
I mean, is this where I mentioned one of my favorite cards that is worryingly staple-like in a lot of my decks?
Which one's that?
Glimpse the Impossible. Glimpse the Impossible is an insane card. I can't believe they printed it, and having played it, God, so often now, it's hard to argue with how good it is. 2 and a red, sorcery, banging artwork. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. At the beginning of your next end step, if any of those cards remain exiled, put them into the graveyard, then create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token for each card put into the graveyard this way. Those tokens have sack this creature, add 1 colorless mana. This card is ridiculous. For 3 mana, you get card draw. You get 3 cards you can play this turn. If you draw this in the late game, it's just draw 3 cards in red. That's in red struggles to draw cards. That's crazy good. However, if you draw it in the early game and play it like I often do on, say, turn 3, you play it, you haven't got any mana left, 3 cards get exiled, they're perma-exiled, they're gone, no one cares, let them go. And you have then 3 Eldrazi spawn that each tapped and sacrificed to give you colorless mana, which means that on turn 4, once you played your land, you have 7 mana.
Yeah.
Which is such a ridiculous boost for early in the game. Like, I routinely, we got Jeweled Lotus banned because it gave you 3 mana of any color you wanted or something like that. And this is 3 colorless mana for free on turn 3. It's crazy good. It's such a big jump ramp early on in the game. You will be able to cast your commander on next turn. Even Ozai costs 6. You can cast next turn with this if you have the right colors in your lands, 2 blacks and 2 red. It's unbelievable. I cannot state how awesome this card is and how crazy good it is in every deck that plays red. I haven't yet to be disappointed by it.
Such a good card.
Yeah.
Well, after that, we've mentioned how much of a threat Ozai is.
Mm-hmm.
So we need ways to protect Ozai.
Absolutely.
Which is what I'm going to go to next. I have two cards that do basically the same thing, but are really good. I personally feel that they're both really good. So the first one is Undying Malice. For a single red, until end of turn, target creature gains. Until this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. And the second one is Fake Your Own Death. For a black and 1, until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control, and you create a treasure token.
One thing, effects, they're fantastic, and there's loads of them because WotC loves to, it gets an idea in its noggin, and then because Standard needs reprints, it makes loads of them. So I think
loads of them. So Commander benefits from that.
Well, when I first made the Deadpool deck, which I've since taken apart, it's too mean. I had all of these in it,
Because
every time Deadpool dies, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And he comes back, and I nick someone else's text box.
One thing that I should point out with this, and it's a question that people will ask: do you lose the unspent mana from Ozai when this happens? Because you think as soon as Ozai goes, you lose that mana. That's not the case, because you don't lose unspent mana until the phase ends, and when Ozai is killed, he instantly comes back to the board. So you during that same phase, so you would keep any mana that you had in your infinite pool above your head. So
yeah, because
tick down dial.
Well, you might assume, and you might quite fairly assume, that when the creature dies, all the mana that was like on him is gone. But that's not how it works, because it's technically all mana in your mana pool, and your mana pool doesn't drain until the end of the next phase. This is like, I think,
or the end of the current phase.
End of the current phase. I'm wondering if someone could force remove it all by using this effect. But it literally, the spell says returns immediately, right? There's no pause. It doesn't return on a different phase or anything. It literally just returns immediately.
Yeah, when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control straight away.
Yeah, then they think they've stopped you. They couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah, obviously exile effects get around this.
Yes.
As they always do. Unless you make it hexproof.
Sorry, we didn't talk about this beforehand, and I've just thought there is a card. There is a card that gets around the exile effect because I used it in Deadpool, and it's so me. It's an enchantment. It's called Kaya's Ghost Form.
Oh, okay.
Hang on, I'm just finding it. It's not on this. It's not on the schedule, Josh. I am sorry.
No, you're right.
Kaya's Ghost Form is single black mana. Enchant creature or planeswalker. When enchanted permanent dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Doesn't even tap it.
So that's even better than these two.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but
it's not better. It's as good as these two. It gives you that extra protection from Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshare, and all that sort of stuff. Farewell.
I will say it's an enchantment. You can't do it instant speed. You'd have to basically pop it on Ozai at some point, and it's single black mana, and your black mana will need to be used because all the mana turns red. You'll need to use black mana very selectively in this deck when you know you've got the ability. But it's not got instant speed or flash or anything. So you would need to pop this on Ozai relatively early, and then everyone goes, ugh. Anyone got any bounce spells? I guess would be the only response at that point.
Yeah.
Although I guess you could probably find if they bounce it back to your hand, you could just use all the mana in the pool. Oh.
To recast him because you wouldn't lose it.
No, there's no black mana in your pool. You'd have to have black, and you can't cast it at flash speed.
This is true.
That's the way to do it. You need to find a way around bounce.
Ways to make him hexproof.
Yeah, well, okay.
So there's obviously two equipments that we know about that do that.
Yeah, obviously Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves are kind of like they're such mainstays. It feels a shame to recommend them, so I won't. There's a card from Assassin's Creed called Smoke Bomb for 3 generic mana. It's an artifact. It has flash, which is incredibly important because that means with your massive pool of red mana floating around, you can cast this whenever you want. Fuck 'em. Flash. All creatures have Shroud. Just amazing. Lovely line of text. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Smoke Bomb. When you do, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. What was already an insult. And well, I'm going to Swords to Plowshares your Ozai then. Haha. Everything has Shroud. And be clear, everything has Shroud until the beginning of your next upkeep. You don't just turn off that piece of removal. You turn off all removal until the beginning of your next upkeep.
There isn't a board wipe.
Shroud can't be targeted. Yeah, wow. Can't do much about board wipes. That's just the way it is.
No, that's what board wipes are designed for.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Although when it dies, comes back immediately would probably, because most board wipes destroy, they don't exile. The ones that exile are few and far between and cost an absolute fortune. So yeah. Also, just as a generic suggestion, there is also a card called Glaring Spotlight. Creatures your opponents control with hexproof can be the targets of spells and abilities you control as though they didn't have hexproof. which is awesome and very, very useful in a black-red deck that will probably be burning the fuck out of all opponents, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But for 3 and sacrifice it, creatures you control gain hexproof until end of turn and are unblockable this turn. Same principle. You're giving things hexproof for a very short amount of time. You will have the ability to activate it at any time because you have so much floating mana. And you can also use it as an unblockable trick if people start to block Ozai in combat. It's just, it gives you more material. I'm not saying don't use Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves, but, staples exist for a reason. But if you wanted to go a little more out of your way.
Yeah. My next card is quite a... I consider it quite a nasty card. Or it can be, it can be quite a nasty card, especially with the fact that Ozai keeps hold of mana between phases. The only stipulation to this is you need at least 1 black mana. This is Wound Reflection.
Oh.
For a black and 5, it's an enchantment. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. Ozai's a 7/7 on his own.
Oh, that's such a good way, because if you give him any kind of double strike, every turn he kills people.
Yes.
No.
Because it wouldn't be commander damage, but it would be
wound reflection does damage. I mean, you'll hit 40 in no time with that. It's just
exactly.
Bad.
Yeah. If you did the whole massive stored up your mana pool, and you did the 2-headed axe and its adventure thing, like Chris said, for 7 mana, and you still had 5 mana left for wound reflection, you do all of that damage, double strike, you would gain double strike and then double your power. So your power would be 14. So you deal 28 damage to somebody on the board, and then they're like, oh, well, I'm still alive. You're like, yes, you are. Wound reflection. You now take another 28 damage.
They're not still alive. They died to commander damage.
Or if they would find a way to block it.
Oh, I see. If they block some of it. Yeah, it's still doubled. Yeah, it's still bad.
They still block it. They still take some of the damage.
I'm going to go on a slightly different tack now, because we talked a lot about how vicious this man is, and he is. I was thinking about, okay, so what do I put in this deck? I put in, because he's basically so deadly on his own already, there's 100 cards in a deck. What are you putting in the deck? And I thought about it for a bit and thought, what else would I put in? And then went, okay, why not put in a ton of mana rocks? Because any mana rock that you tap becomes red mana and it goes into your pool, and it's just extra, right?
Yeah.
And that means you get to Ozai faster, so you can kick everything off faster. Also, if you have the ability to cast, say, colorless spells at flash speed, like we talked about earlier about the Progenitor's Icon, there's another card called Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter, that has flash, it has flying, and you may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. In other words, it gives you another outlet for all of that firebending mana. Because if you're creating 4 firebending minimum a turn, and there's nothing to do with it, you could be building up 20, 30 mana that you're just sitting on with no real outlet for it, because you start running out of cards in your hand as well. So if you had mana rocks to effectively keep building that cycle up, or expending it, a little bit of it, to then build more up on later turns, it might be a way around this idea of, well, everything's based on Ozai, and if Ozai dies, that's it. Yeah. Because if you then have 7 mana rocks out, you suddenly have, well, I can recast Ozai this turn because I can generate 10 mana on my turn. It's not a problem. Because 6 mana plus commander tax gets prohibitively expensive very quickly, and you won't have access to all the mana that you stored up with Ozai, nor all of the mana that he can generate off the firebending that just sticks around forever, Yeah. So that was the first thought, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, it would, with this deck, it might be worth to have other cards in there that say you don't lose unspent mana as turns and phases end.
That's also true. Have you got any of those to recommend?
I haven't got any to hand at the moment, but
there's 2. The ones I can think of, there's Electro from Spider-Man, because he also...
Oh, no, I do. Oh. I have him.
Right, we'll talk about Electro. There's also a dragon called I'll look it up while you're talking about Electro. Go on.
Yeah. So Electro was one that I was going to talk about. I forgot that he did that. Electro Assaulting Battery is 2 red and 1 for a human villain, again, from everybody's favorite set, Spider-Man. He has flying. He is a 2/3. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. So it's a backup for if or when Ozai does get killed. Yeah. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, add 1 red mana, which is, again, fantastic. You might not have that many instants and sorceries. I mean, obviously, if you've got things that double your power, give you double strike and all of that sort of stuff, like Chris mentioned before with Unleash Fury and Bulk Up and stuff, then yes, that's fantastic. When Electro leaves the battlefield, so that's killed or exiled, you may pay X. When you do, he deals X damage to target player. So people are going to be like, I need to kill Ozai. You kill Ozai, but I still keep all of my mana. Now I have Electro on the board. If you target Electro, I will kill you.
Yeah, of course you will. Why wouldn't you? Just doing some quick digging. Ashling Flame Dancer, 2 and 2 red. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. Obviously good backup, so you can hang on to it. Electro. Leyline Tyrant, it's a dragon. It costs 2 and 2 red. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. Yeah. Has a similar effect to Electro as well. When this creature dies, you may pay any amount of red mana. When you do, it deals that much damage to any target. Same sort of trick, really.
Fantastic.
I can't find many others that just hang on to that mana forever. Like some say till end of turn and that sort of thing, but there aren't a huge number that just hang on to it forever.
Yeah, as long as they stay as steps and phases end, that includes end of turn, doesn't it? Because end phase is end of turn.
Until end of turn, you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end is a common turn of phrase on all of these. So I think that like the ones that hang on to it forever are very few and far between. I'd pop those in. They probably cost a bit, but that's probably worth considering.
But even those ones that do say until end of phase, they still give you the access to be able to then cast Ozai back again. Because if he dies in combat, you move into your main phase 2, you still have that mana, and then you can cast him, bring him back.
If you had the Progenitor's icon, you could tap it to use Flash to cast Ozai.
Yeah, cast.
Boom! Boom! Knew he had it. What we've not talked about yet is the obvious elephant in the room. If you have a huge amount of mana and you've got Ozai out and you're casting various spells to protect him, to ramp him up, to kill people, you are going to run out of cards in hand real fast. And red is shocking at drawing cards. Like you can exile cards and cast them this turn, that sort of thing, but you are limiting your options considerably. Ideally, what you want is a whole new hand. And red's really good at that. Red is the absolute king of wheel effects. They're called wheel effects because of an old school card called Wheel of Fortune, which you need a fortune to buy. But there are other wheel effects in red that work in a similar way. There's quantum misalignment from Doctor Who. There's Magus of the Wheel, which is just a creature that you cast and then sacrifice it to wheel everybody. There's one that suspends it and does it 3 turns later. You can find all of these. I'd recommend putting all of them in the deck because that way at any point when you realize, I'm running out of things to do, just fuck it, get rid of all of these, get some more. Like, because red's very good at doing that. And also, quite a lot of them will wheel you 7 new cards. So you cast every spell from your hand and then draw 7 new cards.
Yeah.
This one I'm about to recommend doesn't do that. This one you need to have a full hand. So if you have, say, a handful of lands, which you might very well do in this deck, and you have nothing to do with it, you can't really cast them or play them, and you've got plenty of mana so you don't need them, don't take them out of the deck. Actually, just before we get into this, run 38 to 39 lands. Don't go, oh, well, Ozai is going to keep all the mana. He might. That's very true. You also need to cast him, and he might not. Especially put lots of swamps in. Just say, don't skimp on lands. You're better to be flooded. Better to be flooded and use wheels than to be sort of angry that you can't cast anything. Rant over. Path of the Pyromancer is a 4 and a red wheel. The sorcery: discard all the cards in your hand. Add 1 red mana for each card discarded this way. Then draw that many cards plus 1. So this is less of the cast all the spells in your hand and then draw a new one. This is a nothing in this hand is going to help me move the game forward here. There might be some good cards in there, but they're not going to do anything here for me. Bin them all, draw some new ones, and you get more mana to add to your extending mana pool. But yes, wheel effects in general, very good in this deck. Path of the Pyromancer just adds to everything you're already doing.
You're ignoring the bit that it says underneath it.
Oh god, yeah, it's irrelevant. Like, sorry, it has a ability to do with planes walking if you happen to be playing Plane Chase, which people don't and you won't. Moving on.
Yeah, that's fair. I only have one pair of cards left to talk about, and I mean, like, these are two cards that I will speak about together. So, do you have any other cards?
I have one more card that is just a fun one.
Cool. Do you want to do your fun one first, and then I'll end on the big bang?
Yeah, sure, go for it. So, Final Fantasy gave us summon creatures, which are saga creatures. So you summon them to the battlefield. They have saga counters, so they tick up and exist for a certain amount of time, and then after a certain point, they leave from the battlefield as well. Summon Esper Valigamanda. You heard it here first.
Valigamanda.
3 in a red. Valigamanda. It's a flying haste. Word?
I said, bless you.
It's a flying haste saga drake, and it's a 3/3, which is already pretty good. On its first turn, when it pops down, exile an instant or sorcery card from each graveyard. Pretty good stuff.
That's good.
And then chapters 2, 3, and 4 add a red mana for each lore counter on this saga. You may cast an instant or sorcery card exiled with this saga, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. This is particularly good for a number of reasons. It's not splashy. You'll pop this down, and suddenly you'll be exiling people's, ramp, Swords to Plowshares, the things that end up in graveyards in basically every Commander game, let's face it.
Yeah.
The point is you can cast them all with red mana from that point on every turn. In other words, this huge pool of red mana you have lying around can now be used to use other people's removal against them when they tried to remove your commander, which didn't work. You can also use it to recast all of your cheap death effects you have in your grave. You can exile a cheap death effect from your graveyard and use it to recast someone tries to get rid of Ozai again. You could use it to double up on a double strike spell. The choice that you'll have from this is really quite wide. And it also means that you've got more ammunition and more things lying around when you might run out of cards. If you don't do it by the 4th turn when you do this, Esper Valigamanda will be sacrificed, and then the effect will no longer exist. You have to use them within 4 turns. But frankly, by the time you are casting this, if you're using it as basically a recursion effect plus some extra mana, you should have won the game by then. It's my contention.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
That's it for me. Those are all the big ones I was going to shout out.
I have 2 really big spells. These are game-ending spells.
Right.
If you get towards the end, you're getting towards the end of the game. Ozai's stuck around for quite a while. You've had other cards on the board that stop mana being lost because Ozai's been taken out a couple of times or whatever. And say you've got 20 mana in your mana pool.
Easily by that point.
Easily. Yeah. Here are 2 cards that you can cast to sort of help you with that.
So I just looked at them and went, oh, that was my reaction.
The first one is Comet Storm.
Yeah.
For 2 red and X, it has multi-kicker 1, so you can pay an additional 1 mana of any number of times as you cast this. And it says choose any target, then choose another target for each time the spell was kicked. Comet Storm deals X damage to each of them.
Yeah.
Yep. So that can easily take out the entire board.
It's a solid game ender. If you had, let's just assume that by the time you're doing this, you've killed 1 person, because Ozai will have killed 1 person. Everyone has expended their resources trying to get rid of Ozai, and you've managed to either protect him or keep him in play or bounce him back and forth from the graveyard, and you've kept all that mana, and it's come back to your turn. If there are 2 other players with roughly 20 life, the total cost of killing them is 24 mana.
Yeah.
Which you might very well have by that point. And if you don't use Comet Storm to kill both of them, you haven't got that much mana. If you've got 20 3 that'll kill one of them. But that's the difference. Multi-kicker is only 1 mana to split it over 2 people. So if you can burn them both and then use Ozai to absolutely murder the other one, it's pretty much game over at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one, which is my personal favourite of the two, is Exsanguinate. There we go, I can say it. 2 black and X. Each opponent, so no kicker cost. Each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. Fantastic. As long as you've got 2 black mana on the board, whether it be lands or treasures, then you're set.
It is worth pointing out that these two are quite famous mana sinks, and there's also like Torment of Hailfire is another famous one. Like, there's a lot of cards that do this effect. Like, have you got a buttload of mana? Would you like to win the game? Here you go. And they're mostly in red and black, and they are very, very, very good cards. Because it's X cost to do X damage, that's actually quite a poor rate of return on how much damage you can do for the amount of mana that you spend on it. However, the thing that sells these is that you only really put them in decks where you're going to build up to a dramatic amount of mana. So, yeah. I'll point out that Exsanguinate has another secondary effect that you should also... Each opponent loses X, and you gain life equal to the life lost this way. This is a really, really good spell to also cast for less than kill everyone. Because, let's say, again, it's hypothetical, but let's say you've managed to get Ozai out on turn 4. Not impossible with rocks and the other effects we've talked about. You get him out, big swing, you start collecting all the mana from tapping all your lands that are left over. Everyone looks at it and goes, damn, we're in trouble. And they start trying to get rid of Ozai, and you manage to protect him with the effects we talked about, and that's all fine. And you have an Exsanguinate in your hand. It gets back round to you, and you've got 15 mana, let's say. Seems like a fair number.
Yeah.
That's not enough to kill everyone, especially not on turn 4 or 5. They'll still have 30-odd life by that point. However, if you Exsanguinate all of them for, let's use 15 as the example, you will deal 13 damage to the other 3 players, and then you will gain 39 life.
Yeah.
Even if that won't kill them, which it won't, you are unassailable with that much life unless they've got huge battle effects that do a lot of damage, or they're trying to commander damage or mill you out or something. Like, traditional damage will probably not kill you at that point. And there's no such thing as, like, I've seen people lose the game with 100 life. Like, it still happens. Point is, though, if you've still got, like, 30 life and you gain 39, for a lot of people's decks and a lot of players, that just becomes, I can't deal with it. Like, oh, I'm going to do 40 damage to you in combat. That doesn't even scratch the surface, is very disheartening.
Yeah.
People really struggle with that totally fairly. Exsanguinate has that secondary effect of, like, even if I don't kill you all, you're never going to stop me. This will put everyone against you. But if you're playing this deck the way I mentioned most people play this deck, that's kind of what you want.
Exactly.
It's a villain deck. You want to kill everyone. We should just let's talk briefly, because I think we've talked about villain decks on the channel before, and I don't think we've ever really clarified fully what we mean by that. Because I've got 2. One's Davros from Doctor Who, and one's the Emperor of Palamecia from Final Fantasy. You've got 1 or 2?
I've got 2. 3. I'll have 3 with Ozai.
Yeah. What are the other 2?
So my other 2 are Black Waltz number 3.
Yeah.
From Final Fantasy 9, and Kefka from Final Fantasy 6.
You have Kefka, of course you do, yeah. I don't know about Josh, but from my perspective, villain decks, and villains, this is a commonality, villains often are Grixis colours, blue, black, red, and these are the colours when played together, especially of just ruining the board. Because you're probably playing counter spells, you're probably playing removal, you're probably playing very good interaction, discard effects if you fancy it. Like, these are decks that say, I'm going to put this down, I'm going to be the threat, you're going to try and stop me, and everything in this deck is designed around trying to survive long enough to kill everyone on this table. Yep. Like, I know that's supposed to be most Commander games, and that's actually the way the game's played, but 9 times out of 10, and this might be to do with our métier more than anything else, most games don't tend to be quite that cutthroat. Like, Commander's largely a casual format. Most people are like, oh, well, I'll play my Miss Bumbleflower deck. I'll play my frogs. Like, people aren't necessarily looking to just murder, whereas these decks are looking to murder.
As soon as you get to a table and you say, I'm playing my villain deck.
Yeah, exactly.
People are like, okay, well, I know that this is going to be not a sweaty game, but I know that this is going to be a meme game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think there's a certain amount of license from playing like villainous characters to go, well, I'm going to do villainous laughs and like I'm going to have fun hamming up that this is a villain deck. And like, for my money, a lot of villain decks, part of the fun is that you're trying to burn everyone at the table for a lot of damage. Like Valgaboth is a villain deck in my book as well. Yeah. Like, these are decks that are designed to hurt everyone, for everyone to gang up on them and for them still to stand their ground, because their effects don't necessarily mean that they don't survive big combat swings. Like my Emperor of Palamecia deck, its backside, the Lord Master of Hell, sick title, it damages everyone on attack, not even on doing combat damage, just on the attack trigger for the number of instant and sorceries in your graveyard. And damages everyone. It's universal. So you can very quickly go, cool, everyone takes 30, and they go, wait, what? Where did that come from? My commander. There's a villain deck after all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's for everyone. I certainly wouldn't do it every game, but I think it's worth having 1 or 2 decks in your arsenal that are just like, this is proper bastard. This commander's an ass. And this deck is awful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kefka's that for me.
Yeah, it really
Definitely.
is. Discard. Discard is often seen as a proper, like, horrid effect to play against, because it's really hard to play the game when you have no cards.
I've also got a lot of villainous choice. I've got a lot of the Doctor Who villainous choice cards in there as well, and the deck focuses a lot. Kefka, oddly enough, is the only card in that deck that actually discards cards. I don't count the cards that I put in the deck that copy Kefka. I don't count those, but I've got the added effect of having end of phase effects. So things that happen at end of phase burn your opponents discard cards. They get choices of doing this, and there's I do have a couple of cards in there that do say opponents discard cards, but it gives them the choice. They could either discard a card, or they can sacrifice a creature, or they take 3 damage, or this or that. So it's like, I'm giving you the choice here. I'm not forcing you to discard.
It's funny because I wouldn't describe the villain decks that I've got as my most heinous decks by any stretch of the imagination. I have worse ones, but they're the ones that are like, you sit down and go, here is like, this is going to be, it's going to be nasty. Like, not it's going to be nasty, like it's going to stop you from playing, but like this is going to be a deck where I fully anticipate everyone is out to get me from the word go. Like some of my nastier decks are ones that look pretty benign until they really, really, really aren't. But they're not like sitting down, bang, what are you gonna do? Like they're sort of surreptitious and actually quite nasty, but not obviously so. Yeah, it's up to you. Everyone's taste is different, and Commander's a very varied game. Lots of people play it, but I think especially with Universes Beyond coming in, I'm certainly noticing there's a lot more like, this character is the villain of this UB franchise, this UB property. It's almost always in Grixis colors, which is red, blue, black. And they almost always have these sort of semi-universal, the whole table's going to hate this effects.
Yeah.
So I think there's a steer into that a little bit. Like, even Sephiroth of Final Fantasy 7, from the Final Fantasy set even, is mono black, but everything about that card says you're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. How fucked you are? Not sure yet. Like, it's so brutal. It's so like, it grinds everyone's board state down. I think there is this sort of vibe towards that a lot of the sort of classic Magic like legends that you find are not quite so geared towards like, I'm just such a bust. Like, you see that less outside of UB properties, I think.
Nico Bolas is the last thing I'll say on that.
Oh, apart from Nico Bolas, which is just the meanest planeswalker that ever existed.
Yeah.
That's fair, actually. Nico Bolas is this sort of universal villain. There's always the villain in every set. There's no attempt at shades of grey with Nico Bolas. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for today's episode, don't you?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. You can find us on, or me mainly, on Twitch doing D&D content from 6 p.m. UK time. I also stream other things. You're busy. You have family to raise. Mine are all risen from the grave. No. Anyway, massive thank you to everybody for watching, to the D20 Club, Dice Heads and Other Tiers on Patreon for all of that stuff. If you'd like to join then from as little as one of your local currency per month, or one goat, which must be sent to Roll Together HQ to help with all of that stuff, you can do that. Thank you very much. Discords and socials down below if you'd like to join, follow, all of that things to find out what we do, when we do, and how we do it. And we will see you next week for our next episode of What the Heck Does That Card Do? Or maybe something else. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. Bye.